Alright, cool beans. Hope you guys did enjoy that small montage. I'm Hex. I'm going to be going over a MagSorc build. Yes, the people wanted it, and who am I to deny them their birthright? Here it is, a MagSorc build that I felt was pretty good. I'm just going to say it right now because, and I say it like that because MagSorc, it's kind of in a rough spot right now. I'm just going to say it. Unfortunately, MagSorc just isn't so shocking right now. I mean, MagSorc has been around. I mean, MagSorc was my first class. This was the first class I played on day one console release back in June 9th of 2015. This is the first class I made. And let me tell you, at that time, this was the best class in PvP, hands down. And MagSorc has either been the best or one of the best for years, like probably 6-7 years. And it wasn't until recently of this, like last year, where this is my first ever class, so I do have some bias towards the MagSorc. You know, my baby, this is my tried and true MagSorc from an OG player back when, you know, boards took no crit damage. Those days, remember those days. But as always, if you guys could hit that subscribe button, it really does help out a lot. We're on the road to 1K, and every day we're getting closer, and I can't do it without you guys, and I'm so grateful. Also, don't forget to leave a like, and also comment down any video what you think next, what video I should do next. Quickly, I just want to give a shout out to my homie Mr. Graham for introducing me to the song that I used in the montage. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have PvP that day and it made this amazing MagSorc. So thank you, Mr. Graham. Check him out. He does post PvE and that stuff, so be careful on that. As always, I'll have timestamps on screen and down below if you're looking for anything specific. But without further ado, let's streak our way into the build. Alright, so for the first set we run is, lo and behold, Rallying Cry. I mean, come on. You expect either Rallying Cry or Wretched Vitality, one or the other. And obviously this build is no exception. Rallying Cry, why is Rallying Cry so good? Why do I always praise? Well, I mean, the 2 to 4 piece, crit, max mag, crit. Like, oh, baby, that's some juicy 2 to 4 piece. The 5 piece though, you get up to 300 weapon and spell damage and up to 1650 crit resist. That is 25% less damage you are taking from the crit bonus damage. Like, that is crazy. That's why the thing about this, it's also back barrable and can give it to your allies, but at a catch with, you know, reducing the potency of it for the more people you hit. But honestly, this is like one of the best 1vx sets in the entire game. Next set we run is, lo and behold, the Engine Guardian. I feel on Sorc you need Engine Guardian because not only is this thing amazing, I mean, the one piece is kind of bad, and I think it's about time we update this to max health. But you know, obviously when you cast an ability, you have a chance to summon a Dwemer that can heal you a lot or give you 550 Magicka or stamina every half second for 6 seconds. But the thing about this set that I'll just keep praising till they get rid of it is that this thing summons a Dwemer that the enemy can actually hit. Yes, the enemy can hit this thing and waste their abilities. There has been times where like enemies, Engine Guardian ran in front of me and I crystal fried and I missed a burst potential on that. Yeah, that thing was annoying, but honestly it has helped me out a lot too. Like, this thing has eaten so many meteors and incaps for me. This thing is crazy, and that's the reason this thing is. Plus, when you're streaking away and this thing's right behind you, it's annoying for the enemy. So next we do run 1 piece training because we're gonna have 1 slot available. So why not be able to pump the most max health we can get from a 1 piece? And like I said earlier, we do run a mythic, and that mythic is Markin Ring of Majesty. I mean, is this any surprise? This thing is really good, really meta. Like, there's nothing that can compete with Markin. The only thing on MagSorc is you could run Death Dealers. It was cool, don't get me wrong, it worked, it was pretty nice. Your shields were stronger, but I felt the tankiness from Markin was just better. It outweighed the fact that my shields were a little bit tankier. Plus, the thing about Markin is it's just ready to go off the rip. Like, you put your gear together, it's ready. 200 weapon spell damage, over 2300 armor, just off the rip. Don't even need to think, don't even need to build anything up. Unlike Death Dealers, if you're trying to start a combo on somebody right away out of combat, it's not going to hit as hard. So either one's fine. And like I said, this is a front bar back bar setup. So what is our front bar? That is tried and true spinners. Spinners, it has been around for the longest time, and honestly this was working very, very well. Why is that? The 2 to 4 piece is just amazing, especially on MagSorc. Look at that, max mag on the 2 to 3 piece, which you have on both bars. So the more max mag we have, the stronger rewards are, and obviously the more damage we do. In our front bar we get weapon and spell damage, and the 5 piece 3460 offensive penetration. Yes, it is now offensive penetration. What does that mean? That means it adds pen to every ability. Before it used to be only magical penetration or spell pen, now it's both. So if we have like a Dawnbreaker or any physical ability slotted, we're gonna be able to shred targets with this. Maybe an old set, but honestly, I feel like people are sleeping on spinners, especially on MagSorc, and honestly, it was working wonders for me. So the way we run it, we do run a Spinner's Inferno Staff. Obviously, Inferno Staff gives us more single target damage, which is really good for a Sorc. I do put a Shock enchant. You could put a Magic Absorb enchant, which, you know, for magic sustain. Obviously, we go Sharpen because in PvP, penetration is keen. And look at that, over 3,200 penetration. Oh, yes, please. Thank you. For the back bar, we do run a Rallying Cry Resto with an Absorb Magic enchant because why not? So when we do go in for those heavies, really nice for the sustain. And I do go defending. I really recommend you go defending on this build because the tankier we are, they can now take crit bonus damage and they can have armor on them. So for the body, we do run 4-2-1. So we do run 4 light, 2 heavy, 1 medium. So the way we run it is a heavy head Avenger Guardian and a heavy chest of the trainee. For my 1 medium, I do have an Engine Guardian shoulder. And for my light, I do have a Rallying Cry sash, hands, and feet. And for my last piece of light, I do have a Spinner's legs. For my traits, I do go 6 impen, 1 reinforce. Yes, 6 impen, 1 reinforce. So my only reinforced is a heavy chest of the trainee reinforce, and then the rest is all impen. Now you might be saying impen with Rallying Cry, why? You have to understand people do have crit modifiers. This is the thing, you could go any trait you want. If you want to go Divines or Reinforced, more Reinforced or Well Fit, that's what I like about build. We kind of fit to our play style. So for the enchants, if you can, try to go full tri-stat. If you can't do that, tri-stat the big pieces. What I mean by that is head, chest, and legs. But if you can't afford that, I completely understand. You could just run full max mag, perfectly just fine. Just adjust your health attributes at the end. So for my jewelry, I do run a Spinner's neck, ring, and a marking ring because marking only comes in a ring, duh. So the way we run it is all arcane, 1 reduced mag cost with 2 spell damage. Now if you're a newer player or your first time playing Sorc, I would honestly highly recommend going 2 reduced mag cost. I can barely get away with this with reduced mag cost like this with 1. So yeah, if you are struggling on sustain, always change this to reduce or recovery, or up to you personally. Now for the food we run. So for the food, there are 2 options. The main option is, for this build I felt like, was Bewitched Sugar Skulls. This thing is amazing. Why? It gives us the most max health for a tri-stat. Look at that, over 4,600 max health and 4,250 max mag and stam. And also, if you wanted to hear a joke, grants you some health recovery. Obviously, if you don't want to run this food, or if you're really struggling on sustain, you could always go the tried and true or Zofga's Smoke Bear Haunch. Gives you slightly less health, but gives you recov of everything, 369 Magicka and stamina recovery, with a joke of health recovery. But obviously, if you can't afford these, obviously the purple versions are perfectly fine. For like this, for the tri-stat, Longfish Pastry, perfectly fine. And for Zofga's, Jewels of Mistral is perfectly fine too. Now for the pots, simple, just spell pots with crit, just spell crit pots. But enough of that, let's go over the skills now. Alright, so for the first skill we do run Haunting Curse. This thing is really strong. It is what really sets up our burst. Next, we obviously do run Streak. This is what makes a Sorc a Sorc. This is what gives Sorc its flavor. This is what gives Sorc its identity. The only reason you want to play Sorc is mostly because of this skill Streak. Basically, you flash forward and you basically travel instantly. And what this morph does, it does damage and stuns the enemy in front of you for 3 seconds. Next, we do run Endless Fury. This is obviously our execute, and I really do like going the Endless Fury morph because when you're 1vxing, you need all the sustain you can get. And when they pop, you're gonna, not even if you get the killing blow with this, as long as they die within 5 seconds of getting hit, you recover almost 5k mag. Hello, this morph is also cheaper too. But yeah, next we do run Crushing Shock. This is basically just simply our spammable. It's in with all 3 elements. Enemies that get stunned and off balance for 3 seconds. Really good, just our spammable. Really nice, really cheap. Next skill is Crystal Frags. This is the bread and butter burst for Sorc. You know, we all know what a Sorc can do with this. You never want to use the cast on this. Basically, what you want to do is when you use another ability that is an ultimate, you have a 35% chance of making your next Crystal Frag instant cast and deal 66% more damage and cost less. Next we do run is Dawnbreaker of Smiting. Dawnbreaker is crazy on Sorc. And now there are two options you can go for the ultimate. You can either go Dawnbreaker Smiting, or you could go Shooting Star. Either one's fine, or the other morph. I really wouldn't recommend the other morph. Shooting Star does flame damage, shreds the vampires, really nice. But anyways, I personally like Dawnbreaker more. Gives you 3% one more weapon and spell damage. You generate 3 ultimate whenever you kill an enemy with the fighter field that is slotted. The thing about this is that it does 10% more damage to vampires and werewolves in PvP. The thing that sells this mostly for me is that it's just way cheaper than Shooting Star. I mean, Shooting Star is at 186, Dawnbreaker's at 116. For the back bar, we do run Hardened Ward. It is sad to see where Hardened Ward is nowadays. This thing used to be like half the cost, just absorb way more damage, and with no cap. Like, it's sad to see what happened to Sorc. Next, we do run Boundless Storm. I like to run this morph over Hurricane. You will get killed on the Sam Sustain. And next, we do run Resolving Vigor. Resolving Vigor is one of the best, honestly, I'm just going to say it is the best heal in the entire game. It is the best self heal in the entire game. Not only does it give you a burst hop, like, it's weird to say a burst hop. I mean, look at that, almost 19.5k over 5 seconds. Next skill we do run is Dark Conversion. This is basically our form of sustain with a bit of healing. And next skill, our flex spot, the one I ran, is Healing Ward. Honestly, I just couldn't find a good skill for this. I tried so many. I tried Radiant Regen, the other morph. I tried Combat Prayer. What was the other one I tried? I even tried Crit Surge for a bit, and that was kind of good actually. Crit Surge was kind of nasty. But yeah, I ran Healing Ward because Healing Ward was good. It could make me heal another ally, which is always nice. But yeah, and also the main reason is because it kind of gave me that old Sorc feel, you know? I mean, this thing was beyond busted at one point. So for my back bar ultimate, you can run whatever. I just put this on there because I just don't have Psijic on this tune. I never thought of people playing MagSorc, but after playing this build, I need Temporal Guard because this build was so much fun. You could run the Rust ult, the one that gives you Major Force. You would be chunking kids with that. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go over the stat sheets now. Alright, so our max mag is at 33.4k, max health is at 32.1 fully buffed, and our max am is just shy of 20k. Our magic recovery is at over 1k, health recovery is always a joke to read, and our stam recovery is just a little bit over 1k. Those recovs don't look too nice, I know, but trust me, it kind of works. We do have reduced mag cost over sustain on this build. Alright, so with our Rallying Cry, we are at 4405 spell damage. That is pretty nuts. And our spell crit fully buffed is at 36.4%. Very, very nice. Physical and spell penetration is at 11.1k. Really, really nice. On our back bar, our spell resist is at 31.5k, and our physical resist is at 26.3k. And our crit resist is at 3732. Now that's what I'm talking about, some stats right there. Alright, so for my attributes, I do go 44 points in the Magicka and 20 points in the health. I am obviously a stage 3 vampire. Why? Because of one simple passive. Undeath reduces your damage taken by up to 30% based on your missing health. And for my Mundus, I do run the Serpent. Yes, this is a very, very strange build, I know. But trust me, it just works. It works. It works. I felt like we had the sustain from pots and our dark conversion. So we just don't ever want to run out of stamp, because any build caught without samuels, just hope there's a keep nearby for you to res at. And for the race, I am a Breton. Breton is probably the best race to run on this build. Honestly, it is. Honestly, any open world mag build should always be a Breton. 2k max mag, really nice. More damage and more healing. Spell attunement, getting a lot of spell resist. We can get 2310 more spell resist if we're affected with chill, burning, or concussed. And you know, why not add a second passive on top of a passive? Increases your magic recovery by 130, because why not? I mean, and probably the best passive is Magicka Mastery. Reduces the magic cost of your abilities by 7%. You can just tell them Breton is just double dipping into like sustain for mag. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go over the CP now. Alright, so for the blue CP, we do run Fighting Finesse. Increases your critical damage and critical healing done by up to 8%. Focus Men increases your healing done with single target heals by up to 10%. Mastered Arms increases your damage done with direct damage attacks by up to 6%. And last but certainly not least, Ironclad reduces your damage taken by direct damage attacks by up to 6%. For the red CP, we do run Celerity, increases your movement speed by up to 10%. Honestly, in my opinion, the best CP in the entire game. Play non-CP and you'll see what I'm talking about. Next, we do run Bastion. Increases the effectiveness of your damage shields and damage against shielded enemies by up to 15%. So not only are our shields, beefier, we also do more damage against other shields, which is always really good. Next, we do run Relentlessness. Being stunned or feared causes you to gain major protection for 3 seconds, reducing your damage taken by 10%. And lastly, Pain's Refuge. Reduces your damage taken by 2% for every 2 negative effects active on you, up to a maximum of 20%. And for the green CP, doesn't really matter. What the heck is this? Alright, there you go. So the way you would run it: Irrationer, Liquid Efficiency, Gifted Rider, and Steve's Blessing. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go over the combo rotation. So the combo is, hopefully you'll proc a frag with this. You're gonna Curse, Execute, Crushing Shock, Dawnbreaker, frag, and there you go. Crushing Shock right after. And honestly, that's gonna catch a lot of like pugs and beginner players very easily. Well, let's just say, oh, you don't have a Dawnbreaker ready? No problem. No Dawnbreaker, no problem. Basically the same way. Let's just get some sustain back up. You're gonna Curse, Execute, Crushing Shock, Streak, turn around, frag it, Crushing Shock, and honestly, you're gonna catch a lot of kids off guard with that. And the thing about Sorc is you can do that from a mile away. Like, let's say you're a mile away, you can just Curse, Execute, Crushing Shock till a frag procs, Curse went off, Frosted Cren, and there you go. Like, that's crazy. And then if you see that they're really low, what you can do is just Curse, Execute, Crushing Shock, Donnie, frag, Execute, and there you go, bro. Like, you're gonna milk a lot of kids with that combo. Don't want to run Dawnbreaker? I got you covered. Not for a Shooting Star combo, because honestly, you go one or the other. So let's watch it in action. So I'm a Curse, Execute, Shooting Star, Crushing Shock, Streak, and if I had a frag proc, I would frag it. And right there, that combo will melt a lot of kids, because a lot of kids are getting ready to block that. But the thing is, you can't block a Streak, so there you go. Alright, but cool beans, hope you guys did enjoy that build video. It was fun to finally bring out the MagSorc again. I am an OG MagSorc. I'm not gonna be one of those kids that are like, oh, I'm an OG. When I'm an OG MagSorc, I mean like with humbleness, with integrity, because MagSorc is my baby. That was my baby. That was the first class I got my 5 stars on. My first class I got Amp. Everything you can imagine. My first in ESO. My first everything in PvP, basically. My first 1vx, my first getting XV1'd, my first ever getting 1vx myself. Like, how I learned the game was through MagSorc, and all I can remember was a lot of kids hating MagSorc, and now MagSorc is just, it's just not hot right now, man. It's just not shocking right now. The thing about Sorc is that it does have access to Streak, so that's really, really good. But I hope you did enjoy the build video. It was really fun to bring out the MagSorc. It's so sad what they've done to the wards and the class in general. But as always, if you like the video, if you liked it, comment your thoughts or experiences with the build. Also, anything I might have missed out, what video I should do next. Subscribe for more. But most importantly, stay zerging.